When you think of something that you've really wanted to do in life, how exactly are you saving for it? In this video, we're going to be breaking down the savings goals and strategies really into 10 points that we can make into effective, actionable items to reach that savings goal. Number one, clearly defining the goal. It makes a big difference, guys, when you have a specific goal in mind. It is what you're aiming for. Print it out, write it down, make sure it's there. If it is trying to hit that first $1,000 of an emergency fund, if you're looking to pay down your home, if you're looking to vacation, if you're planning for retirement, investing, there has to be a clear and defined goal so you know where the end game is and what you're actually attaining. And when you do get there, it is time for celebration, guys. Now, number two, breaking these goals into short-term and long-term goals. Now, this can be very specific to what you want to do. For instance, if you have a kid that is going to school at the age of 18, you only have X amount of years before they are going to school, which means it could be a short-term or a long-term goal. Now, if your dream is to ever go on a Disney vacation, take a trip to Italy, whatever it may be, guys, you can really map out in 3 to 5 years or even 12 months, depending on how much you're looking to save in this goal to really put it away. Now, short-term goals could include vacations, could be looking at new appliances, possibly looking at renovating kitchens, bathrooms, home improvements, things of that nature. Anything that has a bigger price tag should be really earmarked as a short-term goal. Now, you can put money away on a weekly basis, monthly basis, whatever it is, guys. But again, clearly defining that goal and then setting a short-term and a long-term goal will make a big difference. Now, some of the long-term goals could be home ownership, again, paying off or paying down school for a child, and also retirement are some of the major long-term goals that you do have to keep in mind. Number three, the target amount. This can be can be incredibly variable, but determining the target amounts of what you need for each goal. Again, we'll use, let's say, a Disney vacation. They estimate $12,000 to $15,000. That is right, guys. Sticker shock right there. So how long is it going to take you to attain that goal? If you need airfare for 4 individuals, a place to stay, plus admission to the park, and eating, overall, it is incredibly expensive, even if you're going for 5 or 7 days to make that happen. However, you can really break it down into manageable goals. So looking at, hey, I want to buy a house in 5 years. I need a down payment for a house. I want to save $20,000. Break it down into a monthly basis. Don't look at it as a mountain that you're climbing to get that $20,000. Break it down into individual steps. Okay, well, in the next 5 years, you need $20,000. What does that equate to every single year? What does that equate to every single month? You could even take it further, breaking it down into a weekly goal or even a daily goal, saying, hey, I need to put $5 away every single day. That is going to earmark and roll up into that 5 year having $20,000 to actually purchase that home. Now, with this, guys, comes the automation. I cannot stress, guys, as a financial advisor, how important automating your finance is when it comes to paying bills, when it comes to contributing to retirement accounts, when it contributes to savings accounts. Automation ensures the consistency of putting the money away, and it really helps you stick to your savings plan. Now, also with the automation is if you automate and pay yourself first, like I highly recommend, with the automated savings contributions, you're only going to have eligibility or only see the take-home income that you're saving. So if you're putting away, again, $50 a paycheck or $50 a month, doesn't make a difference, guys, depending on where your goals are. But overall, once you start saving and start making strides towards that goal, as you get closer and as you start seeing progression within that goal, which is clearly defined, it is going to make a big difference on how much you do save on that paycheck basis. Now, separating an account for each goal. This again is very important, guys, especially if you have a few major goals in mind. For a lot of people, it could be, I want to save and have a wedding, and I want to save and get a home, and I want to save for school. There could be a lot of different goals. This is the point where you really have to determine which one is going to be the most logical, which one does make the most sense, and putting very specific targets on how much you want to spend. But then the trick with this, guys, is making sure that you stay within your budget. So if you're planning on having a wedding and you're setting aside, $8,000, $10,000 for a wedding, you need to make that wedding fund, or when you go to get married, fit within that $8,000 to $10,000 budget. That could mean a lot of things like looking at cheaper venues, maybe cutting the menu, a lot of different things to really make that budget work instead of just blowing your budget completely out of the water and spending $15,000 in that cause. Now, reviewing and adjusting goals periodically is number 6, guys. You have to make sure that you're looking at it. If you notice that you're lagging behind, life circumstances changes, priorities might even change over time, where if something does happen, that changes your goal, make sure you're reviewing it just like we do on a monthly basis with your budget. Part of the budgeting aspect should be reviewing and adjusting the goals, especially when it comes to these savings goals. If you're really focused on the debt repayment, savings goals might have to take a pause to really get down and eliminate that debt. Once the debt is gone, all of a sudden you have a lot of more money because of the paycheck, and the paycheck is the power that you have, guys. Now, number 7, cutting unnecessary expenses. We have talked about this. Every single place that you can cut down, whether it's entertainment, whether it's dining out, subscription services, not getting the coffee in the morning, making cheaper lunches. There are so many incredible ways that you can cut down on the monthly expenses. And every dollar that you're saving or not putting out for those expenses and actually saving, you can put that to use. It is really something that you have to get used to, and something that you'll really, again, quickly realize that once you're aiming towards that goal, and if the goal is truly a priority, you will prioritize it higher than a majority of things, such as getting that coffee and spending money, not necessarily on lunches. Now, number 8, guys, utilizing windfalls and bonuses. Again, this goes back to tax refunds. A lot of people use tax refunds for debt repayment, only to go ahead and reborrow the money that they repaid on the credit cards, which is incredibly difficult. But that is the reason why we have that emergency fund. But looking at work bonuses, looking at anything that is above your ordinary income, even if you're doing overtime hours to make sure that you achieve that savings goal, this is the point where you really want to accelerate the goal and accelerate the progression that you have for the goal. This combined with high interest savings accounts, which I always recommend, guys. There are high interest savings accounts out there that are paying 5+% at this point, which means not only are you saving money into an account, but the money that you're growing is building compounding interest that they're actually paying you. A majority of them do pay it on a monthly basis, meaning that, again, if you're saving $5, $8, $10, $15,000, that is going to be a game-changing difference if you have a longer period, let's say 3 to 5 years, in that high interest savings account, because not only are you going to accelerate the growth savings that you have in there, but you're also going to get the dividends on top of the money that you're saving in there. But the number 10, guys, then the final one is the emergency fund has to be the priority. When you look at savings, when you look at investing, when you look at debt repayment, the emergency fund always has to be the priority. Because what is going to happen, guys, is if your savings, something happens that is an emergency, or even something that is not quite an emergency, you're going to be dipping into those accounts where you've been saving money that you're trying to hit that goal from. And you might say to yourself, just this once, just this one time, I need a little bit of money for this, or I can't cover the expense on this, or we had something come up. That is what the emergency fund is, guys. It is the safety net that will prevent you from dipping into your other savings accounts or dipping into a lot of other places where people do, including retirement accounts, 401ks, savings accounts, or just going right back to the credit cards or the unsecured lending, which means that you're borrowing money because you're not supplementing and not managing your income that you're getting well enough. All right, guys, so that'll do it for the savings part of this program. This is episode number 5. Please subscribe to the channel, guys, if you're finding value in this, and I'll catch you in the next video.